We have a lot to look forward to in the next few months, including potential debates, the RNC, the DNC, seeing Trump's legal challenges unfold even more. What are you looking for specifically between now and Election Day?
Well, I'm going to look and see if there's any real movement in the data. Again, there's a general landscape of this election. The backdrop is pretty set, and we know what the terrain is. Now, that could be upset at any moment by an event, terrorist attack, something that goes on, a natural disaster. I mean, who knows? Events will and often do intervene in elections. I mean, you look back to the leading up to the 2008 election, that was all about the Iraq War until the Great Recession happened, and then it became all about the economy. COVID was, a crisis that was top of mind in the last election that no one really saw coming until, March of 2020. So certainly there are things that can happen, and I do expect that there will be a couple of surprises and twists and turns along the way. The irony is that, the primaries have been pretty sleepy. I mean, we knew early on from most of the data that this was going to be Biden versus Trump. So I suspect this general election has some twists and turns in it still, and that might come at the conventions. That might come after the conventions. It could be one of these events that intervene. But I think and it's hard to know what it's going to be. But I certainly expect that we will see a couple of those in the next 6 months.
Do you think the general sleepiness, to your point, of this primary season will affect turnout and the fact that this is a rerun of something we all witnessed 4 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I've often said, right, this is a movie, we're getting the sequel of a movie we didn't even really like the first time around. Voters have made that clear in their expressions. They prefer different candidates. So, two things about that. Ironically, or maybe not ironically, but that would sort of indicate that there's an opportunity for a third-party candidate to emerge, right? This big opening for a third-party candidate to emerge. RFK Jr. is trying to be that candidate. It's not clear that he's going to get very far. He's at about 9% in our Real Clear Politics average of a bunch of national polls. So we'll see whether he is able to continue to sort of emerge and be a player in this election. But I think the other thing is, and this is ironic, because despite the fact that people are saying, look, I'm not excited about this election, or I don't like these choices, I think this is going to be a huge turnout election. I think both sides view the stakes as existential. Democrats are telling their voters, listen, if you don't turn out and vote, our democracy is over. And Republicans are telling their voters, listen, if you don't turn out and vote, we're going to lose America to the progressive left and this, whatever names you want to call them. And so both sides have ginned up their bases, I think, to the point where they've made this election into sort of an existential threat. And so I think despite the fact that people are saying, I don't really, a lot of people are going to hold their noses. A lot of people are going to turn out and vote in this election.